be the right word. But after-death or near-death experiences are not as uncommon as you might think. I was doing some research this week, and according to Dr. Jeffrey Long, who is an oncologist who specializes in radiation therapy, and is also one of the founders of the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. According to Dr. Long, about 13 million Americans have near-death experiences every year. Now, these are self-reported near-death experiences, according to a Gallup poll. I assume that doesn't mean, riding on Raging Bull or driving on the Tri-State in rush hour or something like that, but an actual near-death experience. But if you look at that number and you break that down, that's about 770 a day in the U.S. And then if you dive a little bit deeper into the stats, you find that about 20 to 25% of these people actually report that they were clinically dead when they had these experiences. And that seems remarkable. We don't talk about it that much. But that falls within spitting distance, at least, of a Dutch study that found about 18% of cardiac deaths who were later revived reported having a near-death experience as well. So if it's not an everyday thing for most of us, it's at least not unheard of. And stories have been told, and books have been written, and films have been made about this experience. And there are similarities among all of these experiences, some of them similar enough that they've become stereotypes, When you say, go toward the light, everybody knows what you're talking about. But for all of those experiences that have happened and apparently do happen every year, nobody ever had an experience like Lazarus. Lazarus, who was 4 days dead. Now, unfortunately, there is nothing from Lazarus. There is no gospel or no memoir to describe this miracle from his point of view. And it's kind of a shame. So this morning, we're going to take a journey. And I'd like you to imagine that he had written something. That he was sitting or standing here telling you about it. So let's just take a little time and imagine the story as Lazarus might have told it. I awoke in total darkness. It was a darkness like I'd never known before. It was total and complete blackness. I mean, sure, sometimes I'd wake up at night and the lamp would be out, but there would still be light coming in through the window from the stars and the moon. But this darkness was something so deep that it seemed like it would swallow up any light, even if you were able to light a lamp. And as I lay there contemplating this darkness, I suddenly realized to my horror that I was bound. I was tied hand and foot, and I was wrapped in cloth like a baby with a cloth lying over my face. And that's when I felt this sudden aching in my chest, as though I hadn't taken a breath for a very, very long time. And automatically then I took a deep breath and that's when it hit me. The stench. It was almost like a physical thing. It was this blanket of foulness so vile that I could taste it when I breathed. I could could taste it and I could smell it, and I wondered what on earth it could possibly be. You know, had I forgotten to take out the garbage like for a week or a month, or had something died? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, yes, this is the stench of death. I know that for certain. And then right behind that realization came the dawning horror that stench was clinging to me. And I panicked. For what seemed like hours, I struggled against these linen wraps still lying there. But the best that I could do was to kind of lift my head up off the stone shelf and toss it around, and the cloth on my face finally fell off. And I knew it fell off. I could feel it slide away. But I was still in total darkness. And now I began to wonder if I was not only bound, but also blind. So I forced myself to lay still and think. I fought against every instinct in my body to move and to fight and to somehow work my way free, but I knew that this was a prison I was not going to escape on my own. Lying there, blind and bound, I frantically thought about what I might do. I was blind, and I was immobile. I was alone. I wondered if maybe there was somebody that I might be able to cry out to, and suddenly a single line of light appeared in front of me. It was this perfect line of light. And it hung there in the darkness for a moment or two, and I wondered if it was some kind of illusion or some trick of my mind, and then that single line started to swell, and it started to lengthen. And it became a shaft of light that was probing into the darkness, and finally it found my face, and it rubbed my face like a mother rubbing a newborn child's face. And I was blinking back tears. Whether it was from the sudden light in my eyes or the realization that I had not gone blind, I'm not sure. As I lay there in tears, I tried to cry out, but my throat was too dry. It's like I hadn't had a drink in days. All that would come out was this hoarse, rasping sound that couldn't have been heard, more than an arm's length away from me. I thought, now you've got to say something. I could just croak. It was a hopeless sound. And I couldn't do anything more. Then from outside, I seemed to get my answer. From outside, a voice boomed, "Lazarus! Come out!" And I tell you, it pulled me up. That voice pulled me up just as surely as though somebody had put a hand behind my shoulders and raised me to a sitting position. That voice lifted me up. And as it happened, a million fragments of thought whirled through my mind. Where was I? What was happening? Who's calling? What is going on? And none of these thoughts lit for more than a moment before they fluttered away and were replaced by another thought. And none of them made me take pause. None of them was able to keep me from reacting to the compulsion of that voice. "Lazarus, come out." And it was clumsy. I admit it was clumsy, and I twisted around on the shelf that I was lying on, and I swung my legs off, they were still bound together. I swung my legs off and let them fall to the ground. My feet were on the floor. And I still couldn't use my hands, so I was using the back of this cave behind me, this wall, and I was using that to inch my way up with my shoulders. Until I was standing, sort of. It was low, so I could only do like this. And then, drawn by that voice, I started to shuffle toward the light. And it wasn't fast. It was inch by inch. That was the most I could do. And the door was a challenge because it was only about this high. Barely wide enough for me. But I managed it somehow. I don't even remember how I did it, but something kept me upright as I ducked through that door, and I was suddenly out in that full blast of warm sunlight. That sunshine. And this cold that I hadn't even been aware of, I could feel it leaving my body as I stood there in the warm sun. It was an amazing feeling. It was like life returning. And I squinted in the sunlight, and I could pick out faces in the crowd. My sisters and some friends from Jerusalem. My rabbi, my teacher. I could pick them out in the crowd, and I could see their expressions, and I could hear gasps. Even some prayers, I think. I think somebody screamed. And I didn't understand at first what was wrong. I remember being sick. Sick like I'd never been before in my life. I remember darkness falling over me. And then there was nothing. There was nothing until I suddenly became aware again of the darkness, and I took that breath and I smelled that stench. And it's curious because it's not as though I couldn't remember that time before I woke up, but it was like it wasn't even there. It's like you took a scroll that had been written on and you cut a piece out in the middle and you stitched the ends together. Whatever was taken out was just missing in my memory. And it wasn't until Martha fell upon me, weeping hysterically and pulling away the bindings so I could finally move. And she was saying over and over again, "You're alive! You're alive!" And I finally had an inkling of what had happened. And though I didn't believe it, I could feel this cold chill suddenly blow through my body like the north wind, and it chased away that warmth. Well, eventually I did believe that I was dead. Eventually I believed what she had told me because it was easier to believe something that preposterous than it was to believe that my sisters and my friends and everybody that I knew had all just been wildly mistaken about me being dead. And it was with a certain kind of grim acceptance that I finally believed that, yes, I had died, and yes, I had spent days in a tomb. And Jesus had called me out. I eventually did believe that, yes, I had been raised from the dead. after all that, I didn't feel special. I didn't feel special because I carried no memories of what that was like. And I had to share that lack of memory with dozens of people, at least over the next week or two. I didn't understand what had happened, and I couldn't explain it, and I couldn't really describe it beyond what I've told you here. After a while, I wasn't even curious about the details anymore, because even though I had visited death and returned, I didn't want to recall the details. Even if I somehow could. I believe there's a mystery hiding in that void in my memory, and it's probably better that way. Much as you might want to know more, it's just not my story to tell, and it's not my mystery to explain. Death comes to everybody. Each of us in our own time, and we will each have that experience to discover that mystery. But it was still difficult because people, even my friends, looked at me strangely. Some of them looked at me as though I was just hiding something from them and not telling them the truth. Some of them looked at me as though I had changed, and some looked at me like I was some kind of weird monster or something. Even when they did not say anything, I could see it in their eyes. That they didn't understand who I was. Here's a curious thing. One night, it was a few days later. One night after dinner was done and Mary and Martha were cleaning up after us, Jesus invited me to go for a walk with him. We went out to the edge of town to this little grove of trees that overlooked the hollow in the earth where the tombs were. And in the fleeting light, Jesus pointed toward the tombs. He pointed toward that open one that I had been in. The rock was still standing next to it. He pointed to that and he said, "Lazarus, what was it like?" I had to stammer my way through a confession that I had no idea. I tried to explain the hole in my memory, and he just put his hand on my shoulder and said, "No, that's okay. Don't worry about it." And after a moment or two standing there above the tombs, I nodded toward the tombs again, and I asked my own question of him. I said, "Why me? Out of all of the sons of Israel, why did you bring me back?" And Jesus didn't answer right away. He just stared at the tombs for a little bit, and he said, finally, "Maybe it was because of the faith your sisters had in me. Maybe it's because the people needed some powerful miracle to focus their attention. Maybe I even used you as a kind of a metaphor for being redeemed from death." And then he paused again and he looked at me and he smiled, that wry smile that I had come to know over the last year or two. He said, "Well, maybe. I just wanted to have somebody that I could compare notes with later." And then he put his arm around my shoulder and he led me back to the house. And I had no idea what he was talking about. Not that that was unusual. But I had no idea what he meant when he said that. But then came Passover and the cross and the Sunday after. Suddenly I did understand.